So potential kirtan leaders are Sadhu Seva Prabhu if he's ready, or Madhupati Prabhu, or myself if neither of them are available. Would either of you Prabhus like to lead kirtan? All right. Well, I guess it's up to me then. Unless Maharaj would like to lead.
Okay, I will lead.
Who's that?
Madhupati.
Madhupati. Okay, Prabhu.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
I Om Vishnupad Purnamansa Pariprajukacharya Ashtotra Satasri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Sridhar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Tham Ki Jai, Navadip Tham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Jai Maharaj. Thank you. And thank you to Madhupati Prabhu for leading Kirtan. And welcome everyone to Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. Today is Wednesday, May 24th, 2023. And we're reading in the third canto, chapter 19, the killing of the demon Hiranyaksha. We take it up again with text 22. And as always, we're looking forward to hearing everyone's comments and questions.
Hare
So
Krishna.
please use the raise hand feature or simply unmute yourself and speak when Maharaj asks for questions, or you can type your comments into the chat window. We ask that you not send any chat messages into the window as Maharaj is reading something there. It makes it more difficult to read. And at the end of class,
Oh.
I'll post some links so that you can share with your friends and invite them to attend class with us. And Maharaj will be with us in a moment. Where are you today?
Maybe we can discuss that tomorrow. I spoke with
Yeah, excuse me just one moment.
Okay.
I just got off the phone with Bhagavat Shraya and they was pretty excited about.
Let's
Yeah.
talk. I have to give a class right now. All right, now I'm fully on your side.
Yeah. Where are you today, Maharaj?
Radha Govinda Temple in New York City.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavatam 3:19-22. Pradushkatanam mayanam asurinam vinashayat sudarshanastram bhagavan prayunkta daitam tripat. The Lord, the personal enjoyer of all sacrifices, now discharged his beloved Sudarshan, which was capable of dispersing the magical forces displayed by the demon. Purport. Even famous yogis and demons can sometimes enact very magical feats by their mystic power. But in the presence of the Sudarshan Chakra, when it is let loose by the Lord, all such magical jugglery is dispersed. The instance of the quarrel between Durvasa Muni and Maharaj Ambarish is a practical example in this matter. Durvasa Muni wanted to display many magical wonders, but when the Sudarshan Chakra appeared, Durvasa himself was afraid and fled to various planets for his personal protection. The Lord is described here as Tripat, which means that he is the enjoyer of three kinds of sacrifices. Let's see here. Lord is the enjoyer of three kinds of sacrifices. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord confirms that he is the beneficiary and enjoyer of all sacrifices, penances, and austerities. The Lord is the enjoyer of three kinds of yajna. As further described in Bhagavad Gita, there are sacrifices of goods, sacrifices of meditation, and sacrifices of philosophical speculation. Those on the path of Gyan, Yoga, and Karma all have to come in the end to the Supreme Lord, because Vasudeva Sarvamiti, the Supreme Lord, is the ultimate enjoyer of everything. That is the perfection of all sacrifices. Om Jnana Timirantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurn Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapata Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Shahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Bodhi Priye Vansha Golpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. I see there's a question from Tulsi Priya. We'll come to that soon. The demon Hiranyaksha displayed magical powers, and Srila Prabhupada says we find this with the demons, including the modern yogis, famous yogis who can do some magic tricks. And all of this trickery is dispelled by the Lord's Sudarshan Chakra. We also find in the narration concerning Dhruva Maharaj and the Yakshas that the magical trickery was just dispelled by a certain arrow, which Prabhupada compared to the Mahamantra. The Mahamantra dispels all illusory tricks. And here Prabhupada refers to Durvasa also, who could do wonderful displays of power. He could pluck a hair from his head and have it become a demon. But he was overpowered, defeated by the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord. The Lord is Tripat, the enjoyer of three kinds of sacrifices. Many times in this narration, Lord Bor is said to be the embodiment of all sacrifices, the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Here, toward the end, and coming to Tulsi Priya's question, there are three kinds of sacrifices. mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, sacrifices of goods, of meditation, and the sacrifice of philosophical speculation. So how is philosophical speculation a sacrifice? Tulsi Priya asks. Let's look at the verse, first of all, in Bhagavad Gita. Dravya yagyas tapo yagya yoga yagyas tata pade svadhyaya jnana yagyas cha yataya sanshita vritaha. These are different kinds of sacrifice of which the performers get to taste the results. Dravya yagya means sacrificing your stuff. Dravya means things. So when we sacrifice our possessions, our stuff, our money, that's Dravya yagya. And Tapo yagya is easily understood, performing sacrifice, performing austerities. That's Tapo yagya. And Yoga yagya, there's sacrifice of performing, following the yoga system. And Svadhyaya Jnana Yagyascha. Svadhyaya Jnana Yagya. It basically means study of Shastra. Svadhyaya means study. Svadhyaya Jnana, knowledge obtained through study. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, the 18th chapter, Jnana yagyena tena aham mishtasyaniti me mati hamatihi. That those who study this Bhagavad Gita non-enviously are worshiping Krishna by their intelligence. Let's see where that is. Adyeshate chayayimam dharmyam sanvadam avayoho jnana yagyena te naham ishtasyamiti me mati. Those who study this conversation concerning Sanatana Dharma are performing the Svadhyaya Jnana Yagya. They're worshiping me by the path of knowledge. Svadhyaya Jnana Yagyascha. Ishtasyamati me mati. So it's not, so the speculative method means trying to understand by knowledge, by cultivation of knowledge. It's not, and the business of the mind is trying to think things out, but we could say it's guided speculation. It's not just aimless, well, I think this, I think that, but they're following Shastra, trying to discriminate between matter and spirit, trying to understand the nature of reality as described in Shastra. Svadhyaya Jnana Yagyascha. Yes, Supriya.
So to put it in a more vernacular or general way, could we say that philosophical, like you said, it was guided speculation where we're trying to understand things through Shastra, whereas mental speculation is, as Prabhupada might say, producing something out of your own fertile brain?
Well, Prabhupada one time defined mental speculation as speculation that doesn't lead you toward the conclusions of Krishna consciousness.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Okay. Oh yes, Saraswati has something. No, even before Saraswati. Okay, let's scroll around here and see where we are. Kendra, this purport reminds me how Srila Prabhupada and his empowered followers are able to counteract all sorts of sophisticated atheistic arguments, like the Sudarshan Chakra, cutting through demonic illusion. I find this quite amazing and impressive. I remember there was a court hearing I think it was a minor matter. I forget whether the devotees were under arrest for Sankirtan or something, some minor matter. Or maybe it was something else, but it was minor, relatively. And the devotees wound up in court, and one devotee, Nanda Kishore, was not particularly eloquent. He was an ordinary devotee, but some party to the proceedings insulted Krishna, compared Krishna to some mundane being. I forget exactly what the insult was, but sort of denigrated Krishna as some sort of, they're worshiping this whatever. And Nanda Kishore blasted him, and eloquently so. And it was reported to Srila Prabhupada, who was quite pleased. And I don't remember what language he used, how he expressed it. But the basic idea was that when Krishna inspires someone, then he can speak so eloquently, more perfectly than the great intellectuals. The great intellectuals will huff and puff, and Prabhupada gave an example of some intellectual speaking big words that even the intellectual himself would not be able to understand, just some invented sounds. But the devotees cut through it. They asked, like Prabhupada many times mentioned, Swarup Damodar asked the big Nobel Prize-winning scientist, if I gave you all the ingredients, material ingredients that you might ask for, could you create life? And the man said, that I cannot say. So it cut right through. Even Prabhupada used to say that he himself wasn't a scientist, but he was able to go to the core of the bluff put forward by reductionistic scientists. He could ask simple questions that they can't answer because their basic premises are flawed or demonic. So, yes, like the Sudarshan Chakra, the devotees spread transcendental illumination. And thank you for that. Saraswati, this great battle left no doubt as to who would be victorious in the minds of the demigods. But still there was a genuine fear in their hearts while witnessing the fight. Even Brahma wanted the battle to be ended quickly, and he was aware of the real identities of Vijay and Jai, now in the form of demons, even if not every demigod was. So it's clear that fear exists in even demigods, too. Even if you know the obvious outcome is that only Krishna can win against the demon. So why is there fear, even if you know Krishna's position as Bhagavan? If the demigods know Krishna's position, why are they in fear? Different answers can be given. One is Muyanti at Surya. Even the demigods become bewildered. They become bewildered. They may have very good knowledge, but they can be bewildered also. Another answer is that Krishna arranges for such bewilderment just to enjoy his pastimes. He puts the devotees in apprehension about him. He puts them in apparent fear of the demons just to increase the drama of these transcendental pastimes, transcendental activities. Even Krishna himself, when the Aghasura swallows Krishna's friends, then Krishna himself is bewildered. What am I going to do? Now all of my friends have been swallowed by this great demon. So these are arrangements by Yogamaya to increase the taste of Krishna's pastimes, both for Krishna himself and for the devotees. Otherwise, the pastimes don't work. Krishna's waiting. Where is Radharani? Where is Radharani? But if he exercises his knowledge potency, he could know, like the exact GPS location. But by the intervention of Yogamaya, where is she? Why is she so late? What's happening? And all these things are arranged by Krishna's energy. Even the demigods, they taste a certain rus in this battle. The combatants taste a certain transcendental pleasure and chivalrous mood, and the audience also tastes pleasure. Seeing even the fear is a source of pleasure. It enhances the experience. I'm thinking of movies where we all know the outcome. We know that the hero is going to win. We know that the bad guys are going to wind up smashed, but still we suspend our understanding and we get caught up in the drama. We think, now what's going to happen to the hero? What's now what? So these things are exhibited in reflection, even in the material world, and in Krishna's pastimes, they're exhibited perfectly. So fear contributes to rus. We hear that there are 12 different rasas, and not all of them can contribute to every rasa, but under various circumstances, the various secondary tastes enhance the primary taste. So fear is one of those tastes. Mellows, Prabhupada would say. It enhances the experience of the devotees, who, in this case, the demigods, who are witnessing this ghastly fight. Hope that's okay. Now let's see if there's anything further down the chat box. Yes, Anantashesh says, philosophical speculation involves more time and effort compared to mental speculation. So there may be an element of sacrifice in it, according to my own mental speculation. Okay. I've forgotten, there is a place where Prabhupada talks about the difference between mental speculation and philosophical speculation. But it's been a long time since I've read it, and I don't recall. Maybe if someone does recall, they could pipe up. Generally, he uses the terms fairly, with a fair degree of interchangeability. The philosophical, of course, you can say that the philosophical speculation is on the platform of the intellect, but mind is sometimes used as a word that includes intellect also. The main thing that I remember is Prabhupada said that the mental speculation, the kind that we just deprecate, arrives at an impersonal conclusion, or a conclusion other than Krishna consciousness, whereas philosophical speculation can bring one toward Krishna. It can't reveal Krishna, for that one needs bhakti, but it can point one in the direction of Krishna. Hope that's okay. Tulsi Priya, Saraswati Mataji's question makes me think of how, when you watch a scary movie, you become frightened, even though you're safe in your home or the theater, except the illusion is real. So might we say that Yogamaya creates the illusion that evokes the fear? Yeah, so I guess that comment was written before we brought it up. Yes, so we're thinking along similar lines here. Okay, anything else? Next verse. Radite samabhavat sahasa vidive pituhu smarantya bharturadesham stanachchasrik pasushuve. At that very moment, a shudder suddenly ran through the heart of Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha. She recalled the words of her husband, Kashyapa, and blood flowed from her breasts. Purport: at Hiranyaksha's last moment, his mother, Diti, remembered what her husband had said. Although her sons would be demons, they would have the advantage of being killed by the personality of Godhead himself. She remembered this incident by the grace of the Lord, and her breasts flowed blood instead of milk. In many instances, we find that when a mother is moved by affection for her sons, milk flows from her breasts. In the case of the demon's mother, the blood could not transform into milk, but it flowed down her breasts as it was. Blood transforms into milk. To drink milk is auspicious, but to drink blood, inauspicious, although they're one and the same thing. This formula is applicable in the case of cow's milk also. So again, we come to omens or signs of, omens. The Diti presumably was not witnessing the fight, but by some, you can say, paranormal process, she shuddered and blood flowed from her breasts. In the world of parapsychology, there's a fair amount of research that's been done on this sort of thing, premonitions and impressions of events taking place elsewhere, which impressions that turn out to be legitimate. So that's all, of course, within the realm of modern scientific, we hope, scientific inquiry. But here from the Bhagavatam, it's simply stated that Diti felt a shudder in her body and blood flowed from her breasts. Her son is about to be killed. Srila Prabhupada often makes this point that the cow's milk is simply the blood of the cow transformed. And so he argues that if you want to drink the blood, then the civilized thing to do is wait for it to be transformed into milk by Krishna's arrangement and not drink the blood like a savage. All right, are there any other questions or points here? Okay, with your permission, I'll throw some stinging ointment in my eye so that it doesn't go totally dry. Then we'll be back. Yes. Cow urine in the ointment, by the way. Not ointment, it's a liquid. And if it doesn't do anything for your eyes, it at least reminds you of the cows. Vinashtasu swamayasu bhuyascha vrajakeshavam ushopagu hamano bhum vajrishe vastitam bahi. When the demon saw his magic forces dispelled, he once again came into the presence of the personality of Godhead, Keshava, and full of rage, tried to embrace him with his arms to crush him. But to his great amazement, he found the Lord standing outside the circle of his arms. The demon, you'll remember, had disappeared, and after disappearing, he displayed all these mystic shows. Now that those mystic powers have been neutralized, he appears again in person, tries to crush the Lord by embracing him, and then finds that the Lord is outside that embrace. Purport: in this verse, the Lord is addressed as Keshava because he killed the demon Keshi in the beginning of creation. Keshava is also a name of Krishna. Krishna is the origin of all incarnations, and it's confirmed in Brahma Samhita that Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cause of all causes, exists simultaneously in its different incarnations and expansions. The demon's attempt to measure the Supreme Personality of Godhead is significant. The demon wanted to embrace him with his arms, thinking that with his limited arms he could capture the Absolute by material power. He did not know that God is the greatest of the great and the smallest of the small. No one can capture the Supreme Lord or bring him under his control. But the demoniac person always attempts to measure the length and breadth of the Supreme Lord. By his inconceivable potency, the Lord can become the universal form, as explained in Bhagavad Gita. And at the same time, he can remain within the box of his devotees as their worshipable deity. There are many devotees who keep a statue of the Lord in a small box and carry it with them everywhere. Every morning they worship the Lord in the box. The Supreme Lord, Keshava, or the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is not bound by any measurement of our calculation. He can remain with his devotee in any suitable form, yet he's unapproachable by any amount of demoniac activities. The discussion here concerns the unlimited nature of the Lord and the tendency of the materialist to try to see everything within their own material limits. And with that approach, they won't be able to see Krishna. They'll see only chairs and tables. They'll see only material objects. Okay, any other comments here? Questions, comments? This business of worshiping the Lord in the box is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada told both Jananivas Prabhu and Pradumna Prabhu on different occasions that worship of the Shila of the Lord follows the pattern puja box, or puja sleeping. He told one devotee one thing and the other, but they've come to the same point. The devotees worship the Lord and then put the Lord back in the box, so that we find that, who was it? Gop Kumar in Brihad Bhagavatamrita comes upon Brahmins worshiping the Lord in this way, and he's doesn't really understand what's going on. He thinks, you're putting the Lord in the box and he hasn't even eaten, and how can he how can you put him in this box? And the Vaishnavas straighten him out, hang on, don't be so quick to comment. Try to understand what's happening here. But it's humorously put forward by Sanatana Goswami. Humorously, but at the same time instructively. Tam mushtibhir vinignantam vajra sarayardhokshajaha kodhena karna mulehang ita twastram varutpatihi. The demon now began to strike the Lord with his hard fists, but Lord Adhokshaja slapped him in the root of the ear. Even as Indra, the lord of the Maruts, hit the demon Vritra. Purport. The Lord is explained here to be Adhokshaja, beyond the reach of all material calculation. Akshaja means the measurement of our senses, and Adhokshaja means that which is beyond the measurement of our senses. Aksha means the eyes, and Akshaja. So Akshaja means produced by the eyes. Akshaja. What we see with our eyes is limited. So the personality of Godhead is called Adhokshaja because he stands beyond the limits of our eyes. And of course, the eyes are standing as symbols or representations of all the senses. What is that figure of speech? Someone remind me. I've mentioned it in my book, and then when I try to remember its name, it disappears from me. In which a part stands for the whole, or the whole stands for a part. Anyway, someone will remember and remind me, perhaps. But that's what's happening here. The Akshaja, born or produced or accessible to the eyes, and so to the ears, to the all the senses, and Adhokshaja beyond all that. Any other synecdoche? Thank you very much, Tulsi Priya. Yes, synecdoche.
Maharaj,
Yes.
here's another question in the chat box.
Another Saraswati, devotees want to know about Krishna and his pastimes. And some devotees may have more knowledge, but love for Krishna isn't dependent on knowledge of him. No, it's not dependent. The devotees are interested in knowing more and more about Krishna, and that's not a topic that's within merely the scope of knowledge, Jnana Yagya, to know about various aspects of tattva. That's also transcendental when it's in relationship to Krishna. That's also transcendental when it's in relationship to Krishna. So one should try to understand Krishna tattvataha, factually. And Krishna says that's the person who understands me factually can go back to Godhead. But one doesn't have to be a great philosopher. And Prabhupada's example was the simple cobbler who's living under the banyan tree and believes that Krishna can do anything. He can pull an elephant through the eye of a needle because he can create millions of seeds and in each seed put a new banyan tree. So he's not a Gyani in the sense of a person who studied all the Vedas and so on, but he's more advanced than the Gyanis by the grace of the Lord because of the power and the mercy of devotional service. So bhakti is not dependent on knowledge or renunciation or piety, but piety and knowledge and renunciation all depend on bhakti. Bhakti is independent, and all of these other methods depend on having some bhakti in them. Otherwise, one won't get any understanding from them. Okay, anything else? Ahato Vishva Jitahya Bhagyaya Pari Brahmad Gatra Udasta Lochana Vishirna Bhavangri Shiro Ruho Patad Yata Nagendro Lulito Tapasvata. Though struck indifferently by the Lord, the conqueror of all, the demon's body began to wheel. His eyeballs bulged out of their sockets, his arms and legs broken, and the hair on his head scattered. Well, that doesn't make sense. Oh, yes, it does, I guess. He fell down dead, like a gigantic tree, uprooted by the wind. Purport. It does not take even a moment for the Lord to kill any powerful demon, including Hiranyaksha. The Lord could have killed him long before, but he allowed the demon to display the full extent of his magical feats. One may know that by magical feats, by scientific advancement of knowledge, or by material power, one cannot become the equal of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His one signal is sufficient to destroy all our attempts. His inconceivable power, as displayed here, is so strong that the demon, despite all his demonic maneuvers, was killed by the Lord when the Lord desired, simply by one slap. We're reminded here also how Lord Balaram killed the Romaharshan simply by striking him with a kusha straw. Simply by striking him with a kusha straw. We need a little bit more in the eyes here. Let's give it a shot. Okay. Years of ecstasy. So the Lord, just by an offhand slap, can kill the demon. Any comments or questions here?
Maharaj,
Yes.
I hope you'll tolerate if I indulge in a little philosophical speculation, or perhaps it's mental speculation. My husband and I were discussing the other day about, we were reading previously how angry Hiranyaksha was, and I believe he commented on it to you at one or 2 points. And then I was wondering, well, what exactly was he angry about? And that's where the speculation began. I was thinking, was he angry? Was his anger obviously at Krishna? Was it transformed from when he was I forget if he's Jai or Vijay now, but that he had to leave the spiritual world and he became angry at Krishna because of that. Or later on, I thought perhaps, he's a devotee, he loves Krishna. And so because he had to take this form as a demon, all his great love was transmuted into anger and hatred. So I was wondering if maybe you could shed light on either one, if he was actually angry at Krishna as Jai or Vijay, or if he was his love
Not
for Krishna.
stated like that.
I'm sorry?
It's not stated that he became angry at the Lord for dispatching him to the material world. That's not anywhere in the text. What we find in Bhagavad Gita, if I'm not wrong, and elsewhere, is that the demons are by nature angry. Kama, Krodha, Parayana, in the divine and demonic natures. They're lusty, they're angry. They don't have to have something to be lusty about, something to be angry about. They're just by nature imbued with that quality of anger. And we see people like that. They're just angry. Like, whoa, what is it? There's nothing to be angry about, but they've acquired this tamasic nature of anger. And so they're kama, krodha, parayana. They're absorbed in, I guess you can say, an angry mood. We see that, you've probably noticed it in clothing ads and stuff like that these days. The models are sometimes like, they're no longer sweet and attractive. It's like angry, just resentful and vengeful and we're all being mistreated and it's what there's even what they call it, criminal chic, I think is the term invented, where the model is a some sort of a convict or a villain or something like that. So it's, and okay, the comments are coming. Panchatattva says, killed by the slap of the Lord's hand. That sounds like a special benediction, in a way. Not by a weapon, but by the Lord's own hand. Yeah, what could be better than that? And there's a place, I forget where it was, where I was hearing, just sort of a meditation on Krishna's hand, and one thing was leading to another thing. I forget whether it was something Kavi Karnapur had written or where it was, but it was, that hand which did this, that hand which did that. So also it's that hand which killed Hiranyaksha just by a mere slap. Tulsi Priya says, it's considered high praise of a woman nowadays if she's fierce. Yeah. And Panchatattva says the models also tend to look like they're huntresses and you are the prey. Yeah, of course, there's so many different scenarios we could get into. These various identities, images that are put out by liquor companies, perfume companies, and so on, clothing companies. But we won't do it. But we can say that passion and ignorance increase in the age of Kali. That people live in cities full of passion and ignorance, and so their idols, their role models, their fashionable images are of people who are similarly absorbed in passion and ignorance. They don't want to hear about people in goodness. That's for old ladies in church. They want to hear about things pertaining to the modes of passion and ignorance. If all, Saraswati says, great demons also witnessed the easy killing of Hiranyaksha, then why did they not, including Hiranyakashipu, surrender to Krishna, knowing him as supreme? They don't get it because of their angry nature. So many signs are always given that you're going to be killed, that you can't win. But the nature of illusion is that you can't see it. You can't see it. Any intelligent person, Jarasandha, how many times did he attack Krishna? 21 times or something like that. It's just insane. And any reasonable person after the first or second or at least third attack would have said, okay, this is not a battle I can win. But he keeps trying, he keeps trying. This is the illusory nature. The illusory nature. And there's, Panchatattva says, it just went the wrong way for Hiranyaksha. We'll get them. We'll get him next time. Yeah, this is how it works. Ashesha Stavra Ischanti. Everyone is dying and everyone else wants to stay here permanently. This is astonishing. And similarly, that the demons don't get that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and that they should just surrender to him is astonishing. But this is the demonic mentality. Why should I surrender to Krishna? Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. Kama Krodha Paraya. All right, anything else? Sadhu Seva Prabhu has offered to lead the closing kirtan. Jai. Well, let us hear.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnuvad Puraman Prajakacharya Ashto Tirasata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Sridhar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gokuvinath Sham Kun Radha Kunagiri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you all very much, Hare Krishna and Chaitanya Charitamrita tomorrow.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Panchatattva Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu. Hare Hare.
Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Doug.
Jai Doug. Sorry, I just said Jai Doug.
Jai Doug.
Doug Prabhu.
Thank
Hare-
you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Thank you,
Shraddha. And Madhupati, Hare Krishna.
Jai
Thank
Madhu.
you, Maharaj.
Krishna Kantiya, if you hang on for a couple of minutes, well, I'll call you right after the class.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you very much, Tulsi Priya.
Thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. Please share those class links in the chat box with your friends, and we look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow for Chaitanya Charitamrita reading with Jayadvaita Swami. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj Ki Jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Thank you to Sadhu Seva for the kirtan.
Sweet.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.